Hello guys, ni hao. Welcome to Beijing. Hey guys, and welcome to Beijing. And as you can tell, it's always crowded here. It's a place where you can visit ancient temples and wonderful museums and learn about the thousands of years of Chinese history. It's a place where you can try the local cuisine, which is one of the most diverse cuisines in the world. So let's start the video. Beijing is the capital of China and has a population of 22 million residents. In this video, we'll visit the Great Wall of China, we'll see what it's like living in Beijing as a foreigner, and we'll try a lot of delicious foods with my friend Alex from Canada. Where is Beijing? Beijing is located on the western coast of the country, approximately 160 kilometers inland from the Houhai Sea, which is China's only semi-enclosed inland sea, and it is adjacent to the Yellow Sea to the east. With mountains surrounding the inland city on three sides, Beijing was the perfect location for the imperial capital. In fact, Beijing is the last of the four great ancient capitals of China and has been the political center of the country for the most of the past 8 centuries. Let's begin. I arrived at Daxing International Airport. It is Beijing's second international airport, and it is the largest single-structure airport terminal in the world. Modern and spacious. They have a really cool addition to it. It's called China Garden. This is called China Garden, and it's just a fantastic idea. You're outside and you get a glimpse of China right at the airport. If you have a layover, you can enjoy a real open-air Chinese park without leaving the airport. This airport is pretty far, 60 kilometers away from Beijing, and the best way to get to the city is to take a high-speed train that travels at the speed of 160 kilometers an hour or 100 miles an hour. No cars, you don't stand a chance. The train is so comfortable and the ride is so smooth. Look, my coffee cup is not even shaking. You can get a standard class or a business class. This train will take you to Caoqiao Station. It's on line 10 of Beijing Metro. Did you know that Beijing Metro is the longest subway system in the world? 27 lines and 836 kilometers in length. Those are impressive numbers. It's more than twice longer than London or New York City subways. I know in my Shanghai video, I said that Shanghai had the world's longest subway system. Well, it turned out that in December 2023, the Beijing subway surpassed it. Who would have thought though? Nobody saw that coming. You know what's really cool? And I haven't seen this anywhere else, is that you can choose if you want to board a cool car or a cold car. That's fantastic because some people prefer different AC levels all the time. When I finally stepped out of the subway, this is the first thing that I saw. A guy casually stretching outside. Wow, I love it already, I thought. So, we're in this amazing city. What are we gonna do? Let's start with the major sites and then we'll look at the modern parts of the city. At the very heart of Beijing lies the Forbidden City. It's the world's largest imperial palace, over 3 times larger than the Louvre Palace in France. It was built from 1406 to 1420 on the orders of Judy, Ming Dynasty Emperor Yongle. The Beijing city was the imperial palace of China for 492 years. 24 emperors of the Ming and Qin dynasties governed China from within its walls. It's called forbidden because it was considered a divine place and certainly forbidden for ordinary people to enter. To fully enjoy the experience, don't go in a straight line. Go off the beaten path. Try to go to smaller parts on the left and the right. Try to find some quiet places, get away from the crowds. And you will get to the parts that are less crowded and really enjoy this amazing city. The Imperial Garden is definitely not to be missed. It has amazing rock structures. Heads up, make sure you book a ticket at least a week in advance. Let me tell you, it's just a pain to get one. Because if you want to buy them directly, you gotta have a WeChat account, which most people don't. So I had to buy it on an American website for $20 when the original price is just $3. Next place we're gonna visit is Tiananmen Square. It's a city square named after Tiananmen Gate. This is one of the gates of the Forbidden City and it's actually called Tiananmen. To enter, make sure you have a reservation. Ask your hotel to do it for you because again you have to do it on WeChat. There's so much security in this area. Police barricades and security checkpoints everywhere. I'm telling you, this part of the city is the most stressful one. They didn't like my camera and my shotgun mic,
And with the phone translator, they asked me if I was going to interview people. I said no, but they still didn't let me go, and they told me to find a storage room for my camera. How convenient. And only after I showed up with nothing but my iPhone did they let me through. This square contains the monument to the people's heroes, the Great Hall of the People, the National Museum of China, and the Mausoleum of Mao Zedong. It was in this square where Mao Zedong proclaimed the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949. But of course, outside of China, Tiananmen Square is known for anti-government protests and massacre that took place in 1989, that took the lives of several hundred or maybe even several thousand people. Nobody knows for sure. Sure, you've seen the picture of the iconic tank man, a man with nothing but grocery bags in his hands stopping tanks. But in China, few people know about this because information is censored. Next to the square goes Qiannan Avenue. This is Beijing's most important street. It goes along many central government buildings, and this is where they host military parades. Qiannan Avenue is often used to refer to the government of Beijing, just like the Beltway is used to refer to the US federal government. Because of its sensitive location, it's heavily patrolled at most intersections. But here's the trick. You can always ride a bicycle. Yeah, there are always exceptions. Like I said, this is the most stressful part of the city, but bear with me, we'll get to the fun parts also. Now let's look at a marvel of the Chinese imperial garden design, the Summer Palace. This palace was the royal retreat for the emperors fleeing the hot summer in the city. It's not just a garden, but it's a vast ensemble of lakes, gardens, and palaces built during the Qin dynasty. Some of the most famous locations include the Longevity Hill, the Tower of Buddhist Incense, and the 17-hole bridge. The central Kunming Lake covers 2.2 square kilometers, and it's entirely man-made. This place is so enormous, you can spend a whole day exploring it, and you'll find interesting things like the marble boat, Shifan, which was first erected in 1755, and it was built as a symbol of the stability of the emperor's reign, because, guess what? A marble boat cannot be capsized. Temple of Heaven is another fascinating symbol of Beijing. It was also built during the reign of Yongle Emperor. Yes, the same guy who ordered the construction of the Forbidden City.
This complex of buildings was completed in 1420, which means it's over 600 years now. And it was used by emperors of Qin and Ming dynasties for annual prayer to heaven for a good harvest.
The Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests is the most stunning building. The park around the temple is a very popular place for locals engaging in martial arts and Tai Chi and other activities, especially in the morning.
Hello. Hello.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Now let's look at the modern parts of the Chinese capital. Let's travel to CBD, Central Business District. It's the primary area for business, finance, and media companies. Beijing houses the largest number of Fortune Global 500 companies in the world. But it's not just all work, no play. There is more to CBD than just skyscrapers and banks. Plenty of places to have a drink and enjoy the views of the skyline, like China World Summit Wing's Atmosphere Bar, which offers live music and spectacular views, or you can step onto the terrace of China World Mall for stunning views of the Underpants building. Matter of fact, this funny-looking building is the CCTV headquarters, China Central Television, nicknamed the Underpants. It was awarded the 2013 Best Tall Building Worldwide. Next to it is CITIC Tower, also known as China Zun. It's a super tall skyscraper with a height of 528 meters. Beijing is a center of scientific and technological innovation, and you can see the results of the innovation by visiting some of the car showrooms. China has really stepped up their game when it comes to the auto industry. Another modern trendy neighborhood is Sanlitun, a popular place for shopping and vibrant nightlife. Originally, it was Beijing's embassy area. Today, this neighborhood hosts a multitude of bars, restaurants, nightclubs, and shopping malls.
Beijing has changed so much since the last time I was here, which was in 2011. I can now recognize the city. Look, it's a whole bunch of photographers right there.
It's a place where you can see a lot of Chinese hipsters, people enjoying KTV, that is private rooms for karaoke, cafes with cats, and more. there's a huge Adidas store. When it was first opened in 2007, it was the largest Adidas store in the world, with more than 3,000 square meters.
Can you believe it, guys? It's that big.
Another cool landmark of Beijing's urban culture is 798 Art Zone. It's a 25-minute drive from the city center.
And basically, these are the buildings of a 50-year-old decommissioned military factory. And they turned it into art objects. So let's check it out. Let's see what it has to offer.
This factory began as a military-industrial cooperation between the Soviet Union and the newly formed People's Republic of China, and later East Germany joined the project. Now this area has been gentrified. Hooray! It's a hub for contemporary Chinese art, with scores of galleries, publishing firms, design companies, high-end tailor shops, and fancy restaurants.
Ice cream service available. Welcome to try.
Hello, guys. What brings you to 798 District?
For some nice pictures for ourselves.
Okay.
Taking photo shoots.
Nice. And what do you guys do? Are you students?
We both go to school in the United States. International students.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Okay. So what are you studying?
I'm studying statistics.
Computer science.
Computer science. Okay. Very nice. And what do you like about Beijing?
You can find like very traditional stuff like ancient architectures and cultures, while you can also see modern stuff. You have the abandoned factories that used to make steels and stuff, and you can also see skyscrapers in the CBD areas. I don't know if you have been or not, like the Guomao area, like where the CCTV headquarters is.
Yeah, CBD.
Yeah, CBD.
CBD, yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
We call it the underwear building because it looks like the underwear.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
What are some of your favorite dishes?
If you're in Beijing, I would recommend like the roast duck and also the what's it called, the jiajiamian. I'm not sure if you heard about it.
Jiajiamian, no.
Oh, and also the hot bao, definitely.
We're actually going to a Beijing Duck restaurant very soon
Oh, good.
for dinner.
Oh, good.
谢谢你.
不客气.
I met some cool guys, TikTokers. But wait, there is no TikTok in China. That's right, there is Douyin. Ni hao.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Wang Zimiao.
Nice to meet you.
No English.
What do you guys do? Are you students?
No, I'm graduated, and we two are 那叫什么？主播怎么说？主播英语怎么说？Actor.
You're
actors.
Actresses.
Yes.
Oh, cool. Have you taken parts in movies?
No.
No?
Movies. Oh, streamer. We are streamers.
You're streamers.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
streamer.
Very nice. It's like entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's very cool. What did you study in college, in university?
Business English,
Good stuff. Good job.
but my English is not very good.
It's good. I can understand you.
我靠，太羡慕了。
这个词儿怎么说？这个词儿怎么？牛逼，
我的妈呀！
牛逼！
羡慕。那个能不能展示个舞蹈？欢迎你来北京，Yeah，
牛逼
class。
Now let's take a trip out of town to the Great Wall of China. There's a number of ways to get there: by train, by a combination of subway and taxi, or just by taxi. I took a taxi and it wasn't too bad. Just 160 renminbi, that's about $22. For 1 hour ride, that's an amazing deal. On Didi app, you can wait for a good rate to show up and then book it. After you reach the destination, you'll have to take a shuttle bus or walk for 15 minutes to the entrance. Once you get there, you'll see a line, but you don't realize how long it is.
This line is never going to end.
I spent 1 hour and 30 minutes in that line just to get to the cable car. But my misery didn't end there. This is what I saw when I stepped out of the cable car. A little too crowded, don't you think? Endless crowds of people. Took about 40 minutes to lose those crowds. People are so resilient, I had no idea. When I was getting exhausted of climbing the stairs, there were still elders and toddlers, still full of energy.
Imagine doing this in winter.
Oh, finally guys, I found a stretch of the wall with no people, finally. So welcome to the Great Chinese Wall. It's a series of fortifications that were built to protect the ancient China and the imperial China from nomadic tribes attacking from the north. The total length of this construction is 21,000 kilometers, which is mind-blowing. Just imagine what kind of effort it would take to build this enormous structure back then. And also the kind of technologies they were using, some of them were pretty funny, like they used sticky rice soup to put the bricks together.
你好，
你好。
你喜欢不喜欢超长
Yes, yes, 非常喜欢。
What do you do? Are you students?
Yes.
What are you studying?
German, philosophy.
What about you?
Philosophy too.
Awesome. Okay. How do you say philosophy in Mandarin?
哲学。
Joshua.
哲学。
Okay, 很好。
I can speak German. Guten Tag, mein Name ist Ella und ich habe 3 Jahre lang Deutsch studieren, Deutsch lernen. Ja.
Sehr gut, wunderbar.
Wunderbar.
Okay, 再见。
再见. Have a nice day.
This stretch is called Badaling. It's the most accessible one, but it's the most crowded one, so just keep that in mind.
I went to the best-known section, Badalin. But if you want to see less people around you, you can go to more remote sections like Mutianyu, Gubeikou, and others. The Great Wall is not just a wall. It includes beacon towers, barriers, barracks, together forming an integrated defense system. Much of what remains today was built during the Ming Dynasty, and the wall for the most part served its purpose well, with the exception of Genghis Khan. His army was the only one who bridged the Great Wall of China. All right, back to the city. As you've noticed, Beijing combines a number of architectural styles. Modern Chinese architecture takes on a very sleek and futuristic style. Just look at the National Center for the Performing Arts, informally called the Egg. Or National Stadium, designed for the 2008 Summer Olympics, also known as the Bird's Nest. By the way, in 2022, Beijing became the first city ever to host both the Summer and Winter Olympics. Another masterpiece is a 330,000 square meter mixed-use Galaxy Soho complex by London-based firm Zaha Hadid Architects. But what really attracts tourists like a magnet is the traditional architecture of Hutongs.
Some say the real culture of Beijing is the culture of Hutongs. These are small alleys, and they originate from the 13th and the 14th centuries. And actually from Mongolian, Hutong means a water well.
You'll find them all over the city, but I recommend going to South Logu Lane. This neighborhood dates back to the Yuan dynasty and has a history of over 740 years. It features traditional Hutong architecture characterized by narrow alleyways, traditional courtyard homes with gray tiled roofs. So charming, it definitely contrasts with the modern developments in the city. But let's try some local cuisine, and I have a special guest for you.
Hey guys, we're in the historic Hutongs, and now we're about to explore the Beijing cuisine, and I have a special guest.
Hi there everyone, my name is Alex. You can find me on my channel Vegan in China, and we are on Nanluo Guxiang, which is probably one of the most famous tourist sites here in Beijing. We've got lots of snacks, we've got lots of cool souvenirs, so let's check it out.
So what's the first thing we're gonna try?
Crab soup dumpling. So you can see it comes with a straw, so you are going to stick that in, and then you can suck out all of the soup, and then you can eat the crab dumplings.
So the first meal we're gonna try is tan bo.
Is it worth it? Let me know.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, that was fantastic. What's our next adventure?
Okay, this next one is my personal favorite, but I know it scares off a lot of visitors to China. It's got a little bit of a whiff. How brave are you feeling, Slava?
Average.
Average. Here we have what everyone coming to Beijing must try. It's called douzhi, or fermented soy milk.
Right.
Can you smell it already?
I wouldn't say it's a very pleasant smell.
It is a little bit sour fermented, right? The way we usually eat it is you'll have a sip of doujiu, you have a bite of the jiao chuar, which is a fried dough stick. This is very neutral, you shouldn't have any problem with it. And then after that you can have some pickles. Have a sip.
So unusual, so unusual.
Oh, he's going in for a second sip. Then you can have a bite of the jiao chuar, the donut thing there, and then a bite of the pickles. So I think you're officially a Beijinger, Slava.
Beijing Ren.
Yeah, 你是老北京. Very good, I'm proud of you.
It's not as bad as I thought it would be. The smell is much worse than the taste.
Now let's see a professional do it.
I don't know about if I'm a professional doujiu drinker, but yeah, it's definitely got that fermented beany taste. It kind of tastes a little bit like thick pickle juice, if that makes sense. So this is guanchar, which is a starch sausage. It is completely vegetarian. It's just made from mung bean starch. It's fried and then you dip it in garlic. So not the best dish if you are wanting to make out with your girlfriend or wife later, but we're not going to be doing that, so it's okay. Beijingers love their garlic.
Oh, the garlic is so strong.
To me, this is like a very addictive snack. I'm a big garlic fan, so the literal translation of this is sausage, but yeah, there's no meat in it. So basically, back in the day when Beijing was still developing, people were rather poor.
Right.
So meat was kind of a luxury. But in order to kind of hype themselves up and enjoy their vegetarian meals a little bit more, you'll find a lot of old Beijing vegetarian food actually has meat names. So this is the Beijing classic noodle jiajiangmian, which means fried sauce noodle. So we've got a fermented bean and pork sauce here, and then here we have freshly pulled noodles. You can see they have a bit of a jagged edge. That's the sign of a really good jiajiangmian noodle because the sauce will cling to it just a little bit better. Together first and then add the vegetables after. Some soybeans, some leek. These are wood ear mushrooms. They're a very interesting texture, kind of rubbery. Some radish, celery. So you can mix it up.
Right. It's kind of tricky eating noodle with chopsticks, right? Am I doing it right? I'm using like fork.
I haven't seen Chinese people eat them that way, but
it's a little bit sweet, right?
Yeah, no, you're doing well. And just put it in your mouth, yes, and then slurp them up. Just like a local. In China, they always have these super realistic dolls at shop.
This is a doll, guys. It's not a real person. This is a real person.
Do you like dress up, Slava? It's very popular here in China to dress up in different, either the old dynasty dresses or ethnic minority dresses and get photos done, mostly for the women, but I see people they dress up for the day and they just walk around town as part of their touristy activities.
You speak fluent Mandarin, right?
I would say functional, maybe not fluent.
Teach me a couple of the most useful phrases.
In China, we don't say, how are you? We ask, have you eaten? 你吃饭了吗?
你吃饭了吗?
Yeah, 你吃饭了吗? So,
我吃饱了.
吃饱了. He just answered. Yes, 吃饱了. He said, I'm full already. So, Slava, how do you feel about trying one of my favorite snacks? 你好，可以来一份臭豆腐. To be honest, I don't think it's that stinky, but I'll let you be the judge.
Okay.
This one is, That chili has a bit of a bite to it, my goodness. It's really crispy and kind of chewy on the inside, crispy on the outside. This is by far one of my favorite street snacks. It's from Changsha, which is Hunan province, a bit more in the south, but you can find this on pretty much every snack street in China.
Stinky tofu. Yeah. A little bit spicy, crispy. The surprising thing is there's nothing stinky about it. Maybe if you smell it, maybe a little bit. But when you eat it, it's very delicious. Hanhaoshi.
Wow, you really like the stinky things here, Slava.
You know what? This stinky tofu is about to become my favorite snack in Beijing. You guys have to try it. It's just so delicious. Swallow the whole thing.
Also, if you take East Logu Lane from here, you can visit Bell and Drum Towers. Those are prominent constructions, and they were built in 1272, and then rebuilt twice after 2 fires. At one period, they served as the time-telling center of the capital city. Another historic place is Lama Temple. This is Beijing's largest Buddhist temple. It was built in 1694 as part of the city wall for Emperor Yongjing, prior to him rising to the throne in 1722.
Behind me is Lama Temple, and it's one of the most important Tibetan Buddhist temples outside of Tibet. And it was established in 1694, and actually locals call it a temple of peace and harmony.
If you're looking for some shopping, then you might want to visit Wangfujing Pedestrian Street. It's a busy commercial pedestrian street with many souvenir shops, shopping malls, and restaurants. Overall, I don't think there's anything particularly special about the street. It's just a high-end shopping street. Apparently there used to be a street market, but it's gone now. The only thing that I enjoyed was a massive 3D panda on a digital billboard. Yeah, that's pretty neat. And St. Joseph's Church, commonly known as Wangfujing Church, an early 20th century Romanesque revival church, originally built in 1653, but the current structure dates back to 1904. If you want to have a more authentic shopping experience, you can visit Qianmen Street. It's another famous pedestrian street, starting from the Archery Tower of Qianmen. During the Qin dynasty, there were many specialized outlets on either side of it, meat and jewelry markets. You'll find sightseeing trams. They were introduced as regular trams in 1924, but now they only serve one purpose, to take visitors from one end of the street to the other, just for fun.
Beijing is enormous, over 20 million people, right? And so I always wanted to see what's it like living in somewhere on the outskirts in a residential neighborhood.
I have a Russian friend who's lived in Beijing for many, many years. His name is Michael. Let's talk to him.
Nice neighborhood you got.
Thanks, yeah. Just look at all this beautiful fake stuff. Fake lake, fake tower. Here we are in Daxing. That's a district in Beijing, and this is, I guess, that would be the usual living arrangement for people here in Beijing, minus the lake, I guess. You want to see some fish?
Sharon is caring. We're taking care of some local fish. I gotta make sure nobody's left behind, okay? Because size matters, and you know, there's a lot of bullying going on.
Look at that yellow one.
Yeah.
Good guy.
How many buildings in this complex?
Over 30, I think. But yeah, it's kind of like a small town, really.
How long have you lived in China?
About 19 years.
That's impressive.
I lived in America for a while, and then I kind of figured I didn't know much about the East, and I decided I should give it a try. So I came over for Chinese first, and I kept studying. Went for computer science. Finished college here, and
what do you do for a living now?
We run a small photography company with my wife. We take tourists to the Great Wall. We shoot family sessions. We do holiday sessions, events, and stuff like that.
This neighborhood, I mean, it's like a park. Seriously, I'm so surprised. Wow. but it's really far away from the center. I took a taxi, it took me 45 minutes to get here. Is that a problem?
Not for me. I like the quiet. We have a little town square, we have fountains here, we have ducks, and in the winter, everything freezes over. And you know, the weird thing about this, the ice, it becomes a sort of a membrane, right? And it cracks, and when it cracks, the echo bounces around, and you can hear this boing, 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 boing sound. It's really amazing.
Let me ask you about your future plans. Do you plan on staying in China or looking elsewhere?
Depends on how business goes, really. But the main thing about China is that you can't really become a citizen here. Really difficult to get a green card or, you know, the equivalent, the Chinese equivalent.
I never thought about it. Yeah. So being here for 20 years, you do not qualify? No. Wow. Okay.
If you're interested in a professional photo shoot in Beijing, just contact Michael. He's gonna hook you up. This is what he did for me.
You want to go grab some coffee?
是那个少虎园在店吗？还是怎么？加一份吧。
加一份，不加两份。
一份吧。
Is that a Chinese coffee shop?
Yeah, it's a Chinese franchise.
I got my latte and it's with osmanthus. Never heard of that, but apparently it's a tree and it gives you a wonderful flavor. Not something I'm used to. Yeah.
To appreciate the scale of how gigantic Beijing is, I took a taxi cab and we went for 50 minutes. And this is what you get on the outskirts, right? It looks like downtown area. All these buildings look brand new.
Now, a great place to spend an evening would be Houhai Bar Street. Houhai is a large artificial lake where you can go boating in the summer or skating in the winter. In the recent years, this bar street has been one of the most bustling evening places in the city. This picturesque area is dotted with bars, cafes, tea houses, and restaurants, and doesn't come as a surprise, it's very crowded. I visited one of the bars with live music. Let's give it a listen. But, of course, nothing can beat street karaoke. I'm hungry again, and now it's time to try the signature dish of Beijing, the Peking Duck, Beijing Koya.
Look at that. Thank you.
Of course, the most famous dish from Beijing cuisine is the Peking Duck. It's already been carved and nicely sliced for me, and it comes with a lot of condiments, like this combination of different vegetables, and I also got some plum juice with that. Should we make it tortilla? That's how you eat it.
Need 吃饭了吗？
吃过了。你的中文说的还挺不错。别照了。
再见。
Now you might want to attend the tea ceremony. Whether you're a big fan of tea or not, you're gonna enjoy it.
Just walking around.
You know, in China, we have 6 types of tea. But the green tea and the black tea is very common, I think, in the world. Because the green tea and the black tea is, what's the difference of them? It's just the green tea is no fermentation. As soon as possible, we give higher temperature to stop fermentation. But the black tea, we will ferment it is about like 90%, even 100% fermentation. Green tea,
绿茶
white tea,
Okay.
白牡丹,
白牡丹
and 大红袍, oolong tea.
Oolong tea.
And this one is the black tea, but it is special. It's smoked black tea. And this is a pour. First, I will use the hot water to warm the cup. 龙井.
It's just such a wonderful experience listening to this calm music and trying different teas and smelling and watching a professional do the stuff they do. I mean, I totally enjoyed it. If you want to book a tea ceremony with Anna, I will leave her info in the description.
Okay, now you see this Chinese 2 characters. One is tea and this is road. So in Chinese, 茶道. How to write tea? Pot. It means grass. And this, people. And this, tree. So tea is 3 parts together. Grass, people, and the tree. It means when we are drinking a cup of tea, try to make yourself or your mind like in the forest or in the mountain. You will feel more peaceful, quiet, and you will calm down, and you will have wisdom. When you are quiet, then you will have wisdom.
But how many cups of tea do you drink per day?
I think per day, I have like this cup. It's about 40 to 50 milliliter, and I will drink about 20 or 30 cups of this. Wow. In China, we don't have afternoon tea. We will have tea when we get up. Even before we sleep, we will also have tea.
My hotel was called Inner Mongolia, and it was located in a central area. Let's see what life is like for the locals here.
Right now it's like 9 p.m.
Now let's take a walk around my neighborhood.
So yeah, there's a basketball court, a number of them, and then there's a soccer field.
At the same time, ladies are dancing in the park, and the city is just so full of energy.
Hey, 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 hey!
Guys, have you ever seen a bicycle traffic jam? Okay, so now they open the gate for them. Now it's gonna be an endless amount of people.
Around my hotel, people were playing card games in the parks. If you really want to enjoy your time in Beijing, you gotta learn how to use those bicycle apps.
I'm really starting to like Beijing a lot more, so let me show you. First, you scan the code. I'm paying with Alipay, which is, okay, confirm and locking. Look, I got a bicycle. Let's explore the city.
On the bike, you can go anywhere, even on Tiananmen Avenue, or cycle along Tiananmen Square and take pictures.
Gates are open.
How cool is that?
We can go.
I found that sometimes it's faster than the subway. Look, even the cops are riding bikes, or are they running away from me? Wait guys, I cannot keep up. Now let's get a bike and explore some of Beijing's amazing parks. Beihai Park. This is one of the best preserved ancient imperial gardens in China, with a history of over 1,000 years. Initially, it was built in the Liao dynasty, but it wasn't until 1925 that it was open to the public. I went there early in the morning hoping to see some people do morning exercise, Tai Chi.
Going to parks in the morning is a big part of the Chinese culture.
And I was not disappointed. I even participated, or rather made a fool out of myself. Another lovely park is Jianshan Park. It's also a formerly private imperial garden. One of the reasons to visit it is to get a bird's eye view of the Forbidden City from one of its pavilions. Also, it was in this park where Emperor Chengjian, the last emperor of the Ming Dynasty, hanged himself. He couldn't maintain the country anymore, and when Li Zijian, a Chinese peasant rebel leader, invaded Beijing in April 1644, he had no other choice. And that's how the Ming Dynasty ended.
Alex, tell me how you ended up in Beijing.
Long story. So basically, ever since I graduated university, I've been a world traveler of sorts. I lived in Spain for 5 years, and then in France, then in Latin America for a while. And then Beijing called me and had a job opportunity. So I ended up here thinking this would be my last little live abroad thing before I settled down. And now I'm pretty much settled down here in Beijing.
And you've been here for 5 years now?
5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now tell me about all the good sides of Beijing.
The rent is expensive here, but I would say the cost of living is relatively cheap compared to Canada, where I'm from, especially Vancouver. Vancouver is just so expensive. So going out for a meal here is not going to set me back more than $10 or $20 for like a very decent meal. I love Chinese food, and I think Beijing, as the capital, you have lots of people from all over China that come here to set up their restaurants. So you've got some really authentic Chinese food from all over the country.
What about like everyday living? Is it difficult to make friends with locals?
Compared to Spain, I found it is a little bit more hard to integrate into Chinese society. I think there are like major cultural differences, but I think once you learn a bit of the language, people are so friendly here. I've never met friendlier people than in China, really. You just say a little bit of Chinese, even if you just say ni hao, they always compliment you and say, wow, your Chinese is so good. And people are just so friendly.
How much money do you need to make to live comfortably in Beijing?
I would say if you want to live comfortably as a foreigner here in Beijing, a minimum of 15,000 RMB would be like enough, but you probably wouldn't be saving too much. Of course, it depends on your lifestyle. If you like to travel, if you have an online shopping addiction, which is very common in China, it's so convenient here to buy things on your phone.
With all the apps.
Oh my goodness.
Now let's enjoy our coffee.
All right.
Cafe.
咖啡。
你喜欢咖啡？
我非常喜欢咖啡。
真好。
Are there any scams to be aware of? Yes. If you're a male visitor, you might experience being approached by good-looking Chinese girls who speak fluent English. Now that's 2 red flags right here. First, most Chinese girls do not speak fluent English. And second, Chinese people are pretty reserved by nature. They will invite you to a bar or tea ceremony or a karaoke room, and you will end up getting a check for a couple $100s. I was approached several times both in Shanghai and Beijing. Also, never hail down a taxi on the street without a meter. They'll charge you a price 5 times higher than what you would get from the Didi app. Alright, 谢谢你. Thanks for watching this episode. Beijing is definitely a city worth visiting. Now, I have a favor to ask. If you're watching this video and you're not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and let's get to 1 million subscribers by the end of this year. I will have many more videos coming. Thanks, guys.